I'm going to switch us over to something a little bit different now. It obviously ties into your social media success. I would argue that it's one of the reasons why you were able to do what you did. But what influenced you to drop out of college?
I would say it mostly was the insight that I had in that first semester where I basically realized I was at a crossroads and I had two choices. I could either full time be a student and not pursue the opportunities that were continuously coming my way, whether it was like speaking gigs or being flown out by Instagram for an award or whatever it is. Like it was happening while I was a first semester college student, and I just quickly realized I want to continue not only the impact that I'm having in the world, but honestly, the learning that I'm having outside of the classroom is so much greater than I was getting in my intro to public speaking class that I was forced to take in my freshman year, which I thought was really ironic. Um, and so, what I quickly realized, it is a path that is unique to us all. It's not a one size fits everybody thing where you could just say, "Oh, I'm going to go to a 4 year college or a 2 year junior college," or picking something like that, and I'm going to have it set for me. I'll have a career. I'll know what I'm doing. Blah blah blah. Again, that is not the way that the world works. I think sometimes, yes, there is for sure a linear path if you want to be a lawyer or a scientist or a doctor or any of those things. And there is a lot of value in going to school for those people. Again, if you're trying to follow that career path, which I see so much value in, and I'm not putting any sort of like negative connotation on higher learning
Right, right,
or
right.
on any of that. However, when you want to do something different, you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be innovative, you want to do something that isn't common or like that sort of thing, college isn't necessarily for you. And it's okay to go against the grain. It's okay to not do what everyone else is doing. And if that means that you find what your path is and that doesn't involve after you graduate high school, going to university or college, that's okay. But the con or the I think important framing to that, you shouldn't have no indication of where you want to go. So allow yourself to explore what, like, you could do a gap year, traveling if that's something that you can do, even starting a job right after high school. But just giving yourself the permission to have people say, "Oh, you're not going to college? Why?" Or "You're not gonna succeed. You're not going to get what you're after." Like, people will say that because it's so common that you have to go to college. You have to follow these steps in order to achieve success. And in my opinion, that's just not the case anymore.
I really like how you said that. It's not like a war on college, right? We're
Hmm.
not saying like don't go to college, like specifically don't go to college. It's more a mere fact of whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
reverse engineer it. And if college doesn't fit the bill for that, then you should probably think about it more deeply and figure out what it is that you might better be able to do, right? Like,
1,000%.
yeah, like what might suit you more. That's the word I'm
Hmm.
looking for. And
Totally.
like, also, I love the fact that you said that a lot of people will say you won't succeed.
Yep.
So this kind of leads me into my next thing, and the thing that I was planning to talk about anyways. What would your advice be to people who are getting a lot of criticism, as a lot of people do when they are doing something very different and unique, such as the things that we're doing? What would you say to those people who are critiquing and who might even instill these negative thoughts and belief systems into the minds of the people who are trying to make a difference in the world.
So I think this is twofold. What I would say to those that are instilling negativity and ultimately hate, I really think it's a projection of how that person ultimately feels. And it could be insecurities, it could be childhood traumas, but honestly, it's just a mirror of what their internal beliefs are for themselves. And I think that's sad personally. Doesn't mean that's not going to affect us and that the words aren't going to hurt, because the truth is that they do. And sometimes certain comments, and I say this for my own experience, certain comments will absolutely hit you harder than like anything else. And they could almost stop you in your tracks. And you have to work against that. But yeah, it's to those people who are again like mirroring their own insecurities or their own negative thoughts. I would really encourage and implore you to take a look at your own life and where you currently are, because I would personally bet it's not serving you to be bringing other people down or trying to make those who are positive or have things that are benefiting the world. You don't need to bring them down to the level of where you're currently at. And I say that not in a way of like you should feel absolutely horrible about yourself and your actions, but it's more you have the ability to help yourself and to get out of this place of misery and suffering so that you can benefit from what the people that you're commenting on are doing, whether they are being positive fitness influencers or sharing mental health tips. Doesn't matter. But I think like the whole gamut, no matter what level you're at, you're gonna have people that hate on you. You're gonna have people that comment shit and that are just horrible human beings. And so this goes to my next piece of advice. We as the ones in the driver's seat and the content creators, or honestly just the leaders, we could be entrepreneurs, we could be innovators, we don't necessarily have to be influencers or content creators, but you have to learn to make the voice inside your head louder than the noise around you. And I found doing that is achieved two ways: by therapy and by meditation and mindfulness. Without therapy, just being honest as possible, there's no way that I would be where I am. I mean, not just when it comes to mindset, but my own mental health was absolutely horrible when I was a kid, and I had multiple suicide attempts, and I really needed somebody to kind of guide me out of the hole that I was in. And therapy was that method, but it also was, as I mentioned, meditation, mindfulness, simple apps like Calm or Headspace, where you just take like 5 or 10 minutes and go through a guided meditation or breathing exercise. Sounds super simple. It's been a total game changer for just how I am showing up, not being overwhelmed by the things around me. And yeah, it's a reality that's always going to exist, but it's truly up to us to learn that it's really a choice that we make what we allow in, and whose influence has the ultimate power over us, versus making our own voice, our internal compass, the loudest thing possible.
Absolutely, man. I won't even be able to get to everything you mentioned there, but I am going to say that it is very interesting that you mentioned meditation and therapy, because as like a self-improvement based channel, we definitely talk a lot about like meditation, about journaling,
Mm-hmm.
about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations
Yeah.
for the sake of your future self, and like just how that can really shape your mindset just because you're willing to do the things that no one else will, and you know your subconscious knows that. Like, you internally know if you are doing something that is benefiting you or if you're doing something that's ultimately harming you. Whether you
100%.
like mask that with like all these bad things that are
Yep.
so prevalent in today's day and age,
Mm-hmm.
that's obviously on you. But on the inside, you always know if you're right or wrong. And yeah, with that being said, I think I'm gonna end it off here because it's getting super long. But it was great having you on, man. Obviously, your work speaks for itself. What's the next thing that you have on the agenda? What do you plan to do next?
Something that I'm excited about is continuing to lean into partnerships and campaigns with companies. So I think this is something to look to those that are building a social media platform. You don't necessarily need to seek out the companies and the brands and the opportunities. When you have what they're looking for, they're gonna come to you. So be as authentically yourself as possible. And honestly, that would be my advice, because I'm now reaping in the rewards of being able to literally work with some of the biggest companies in the world on campaigns and just really dope opportunities. And it's simply because from that day that I gave the TED Talk when I was 15, I decided I was going to continue to put myself out there to be the representation that I didn't see. And I never imagined what would come out of it. But yeah, ending it on that note, I think is something to look forward to.
Amazing. So, if you guys are like in this space and you want to become something of a figure in society, then I believe that following Farbstein here will help you guys a lot. I brought him to the table because I think that he's very relevant to everything that we've touched on this specific channel. Like, our work kind of goes hand in hand if you really boil it down. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll definitely have to have Farbstein on some other time and continue this conversation because it was definitely a great one. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.
Thanks, everybody.